Summit 2025 is going to be our best ever. I'm Chris Cooper. This is Run a Profitable Gym. And every year we host one massive event for gym owners and coaches in Chicago. We call this the Two Brain Summit. This year it's on June 7th weekend, just close to O'Hare. And it's going to be the best thing we've ever done. Last year, we sold out 1,000 gym owners and coaches in two big, gigantic boardrooms. It was a crazy, crazy weekend. And this year is going to be better. I'm going to walk you through it today. But the reason I'm telling you this is because the prices go up to our normal rate on February 1st. There's a slight discounted rate that happens up until then because we want to know in advance how many people are going to be there so we know how much coffee to buy and stuff like that. Let's talk about here's what happens at Summit and why you should get your tickets at www.twobrainsummit.com today, because they will sell out. First, our theme this year is Help Best. Look, there's nobody in the fitness industry that's really connecting the new advances in science and technology with the practices of coaching. The people that we used to look for inspiration, for science, for trial and error, for experimentation, for implementation, they've kind of gone and there's this gap now. And so this year we're really focused on what do you need to do to help your clients best. We have two stages. The first stage is for owners and the second stage is for coaches, and we have speakers going on both. But this year, more than ever, the coaches side is hands-on. If you bring your coaches to Summit, you can do that really cheaply. They are going to be spending their days working with people like Jason Khalipa and his team, like Mayhem, and refining their art and skill at coaching. On the owner side, we're focused on what are the most important things that you actually have to do to change people's lives. And by people, I mean your clients, I mean your staff, and your own. Help Best is us taking like only what's most important and working on those things for the weekend. Now, if you've never been to a Two Brain Summit before, you might have a couple of questions. Number one, can I come if I'm not a Two Brain client? And the answer is yes. Number two, is it a bunch of lecturers? And the answer is not really. We do have a big stage and we do put people into working places. But it's really a workshop. You are there to work. You are going to be working this weekend. You're going to have things to fill out and download and work on with the speakers. They're not up there to tell you about the value of your job. You already know that. They're not there to really inspire you, even though you will be inspired by the work that you get done with them, the progress that you make on your business, and the look in your coach's eyes when at the end of the weekend they say, this is one of the best weekends of my life. Here's how we do it. First off, we have these morning workouts at 5 and 6 a.m. and Rogue is one of our partners in this event all the time. And so they have this big setup and you show up and you get led through these workouts by people like Jason Khalipa, and they'll coach 50 to 100 people at a time. Now, once you get your ticket, you can reserve your spot to make sure that you can make these workouts and there's a spot for you, but they are so fun. Think about gigantic hotel ballrooms full of people just like you, having fun, working out, breaking a sweat with like celebrity coaches. It's a riot. The vibe and the atmosphere is really I think it's like a big birthday party, honestly. So you show up, we're in Rosemont, Chicago. We're just off the town square. Amazing food, amazing restaurants, there's entertainment. This is some of the best weather Chicago sees all year. It's usually warm and beautiful, but not too hot. There's morning workouts with celebrity coaches, which I just mentioned. There's a fantastic party on Friday night when you get there. That's always just, a lot of fun. You're going to meet people. There's some networking events, but also like when you're working on these projects, quite often we have you work with somebody sitting next to you or somebody you haven't even met before to get a different perspective. It's way better than like a roundtable event where you're sitting around and brainstorming with people who are maybe behind you, maybe they're guessing. We're actually telling you what to do. We're guiding you through work, but you're collaborating with people around you to say, how have you done this exactly the way they're talking about it? So it's a super duper social event on Friday night. Saturday and Sunday morning, we have these massive group workouts that are so fun. We do put people on stage for about 2 hours at a time, and then we have a coffee break so you can socialize with other owners, meet new people, catch up with people that you haven't seen, catch up with people that you've met through our Facebook groups or maybe through Gym Owners United, but you've never put a face to a name. We give you a nice long break for lunch so that you can go somewhere. Rosemont has amazing food, and you can go, grab a sandwich or grab something bigger. At night, there's amazing barbecue places, there's beer gardens, there's great Italian food, great seafood, and it's right there in Rosemont. You don't have to rent a car, you don't have to travel around to go anywhere, you don't have to Uber Eats anything in. You walk a block and you're in this amazing spot in Chicago. Then during the daytime, what we do is we split you into two groups. There's the coaches group and the owners group. The owners group, there will be about 600 owners. There will be, 25 vendors in that room and a speaker on stage. I'm going to walk you through the speaker's topics in a moment because those are important, but the vibe is fun. It's relaxed. You're getting a coffee with your best gym owner friends, and, you're learning and you're working together for the weekend. It's inspiring. The best thing that I hear, and I hear this dozens of times every year, is I needed this. It's a breath away from my gym, and I have the energy to go out there and lead for another year. I'm re-inspired. I'm reinvigorated. I've got my energy back. I want to go out there and run my gym. Okay. Let's talk about what you're going to actually be working on to improve your gym. And I'm going to go through the owner's side speakers and workshops first, and then I'm going to talk about the coach's side speakers and workshops too. Trust me, if you're anything like me, you're going to want to do all of it. Like, I wish there were two of me and I could go back and forth from the owner's stage to the coaches. So here we go. The owner's side, speakers and workshops at the Two Brain Summit 2025. So I'm going to start things off by explaining the concept of Help Best. Look, there's really 6 ways that we can know that we're actually making a difference in our clients' lives. Making a difference does not mean talking them into doing CrossFit for 30 years. It doesn't mean talking them into doing yoga or Pilates or intensity or whatever. It doesn't mean educating them on what Zone 2 aerobic training means or why they should be stronger, and it doesn't mean pushing them to compete. Changing their lives can be measured in 6 different ways, and if we're setting up a coaching business that actually accomplishes our mission out there, we need to talk about those 6 ways, and then we're going to spend all weekend helping you build those 6 ways to get people results and actually change their lives. I'm going to introduce the concept, and then I'm going to bring a friend on stage that you might have heard of. His name is Joey Coleman, and he wrote this amazing book called Never Lose a Customer Again. He is going to spend 90 minutes with us on a brand new workshop that he's never done before with anybody else, but he's hoping will be his next big project. And his book is a bestseller already. His next big project, you're going to get to do it with Joey before anybody else in the world does. He's eager to do this with you because he just loves the fitness community for what he says we have done for him. Then we're going to be bringing 2 Two Brain mentors on the stage, Russ and Corey. What these guys are going to do for 60 minutes is break down the things that actually matter for retention. When you think about keeping a client long enough, and we say that you need to keep a client long enough for 2 years to change their life, there are a lot of gimmicks and ideas out there, but there's very little science and data. Corey and Russ are going to talk through the 5 things that will measurably work to improve retention. I know you've seen all the ideas out there about giving badges and community and pub crawls and stuff. Maybe that's not a thing anymore. But the truth is that there are 5 things that you need to do to keep clients around, as proven by data in thousands of gyms around the world. And Russ and Corey are going to do a very deep dive on how to implement these in your gyms and how to get your staff implementing them. So if you've heard of our 5 pillars of retention before, this is going to be a next level talk for you. It's going to be, how do I get my staff involved at improving our retention? Massive. Then Jolene Bingham is going to take the stage. Now, Jolene leads our Tinker program for the top 100 gyms in the world who are at a point where they're expanding into multiple locations. They're growing as leaders. They're reinvesting their profitability. They're really the tip of the spear that's forging the next frontier for the fitness industry. Jolene is their leader, and she's going to be doing a talk that is called Chaos to Come Back to Tinker. And it's talking about her life being in disarray. If you know Jolene, it's hard to believe that this ever happened. But a lot of us, when we hear this talk, are going to say, oh my goodness, that's me right now. Or, oh my goodness, that was me a year ago. And she's going to talk about that whole journey from chaotic, just trying to survive in your gym, to massive comeback, to massive growth, into tinker level, where you're reinvesting and actually impacting people. The next topic is from our friends in Stockholm, Oscar and Carl. They've built a coach ascension model. This is like a belt system for your coaches. They start off as a white belt, then they become a yellow belt, and eventually they become this like high level black belt coach. And Carl and Oscar have built an entire ascension model for this, including an evaluation process that I'm sure you've never seen before, including like, here's what you get paid at each level, here's how you get to the next level, and here's how we build better coaches. We all talk about building better coaches and having a better product, but the reality is that nobody has actually mapped this path and said, here is what makes you a better coach. Here's what qualifies you to earn more. Here's what you have to achieve before you can become full-time. This talk alone, this 60 minutes, this is worth flying into Chicago, booking a hotel room, bringing your team, spending money on dinners and hotel nights and all that stuff just for this 60-minute talk. We just did a pilot on this with 12 very lucky gym owners, and their feedback was like, this is outstanding. It's a game changer. It's never been seen before in the industry. It is going to change your entire business. I can't wait to give it to you. And then to wrap up our day, Dan Purington is going to talk about building a small group semi-private model in your gym. Now, this is interesting because Dan's a CrossFit affiliate, and CrossFit HQ and a lot of OG affiliates will say, oh, the CrossFit model is big group. That's not true. The CrossFit model was originally small group or semi-private, 2-on-1, 3-on-1. This is how Greg Glassman did it. Dan Purington has done it this way from the start, and he has built an amazing business. Now, but whether you're a CrossFit affiliate or not, the biggest change that's happening in the industry is going from this challenging big group model with lots of churn, lots of staffing demands, lots of space, lots of overhead, lots of expenses, into this small group semi-private. And at the same time, at the other end of the industry, the personal trainers are now saying the only way that I can scale and not work an 80-hour work week is to go to small group semi-private. The two groups are converging in the middle. And this is, it's amazing for a lot of us. But how do you do that? How do you make that change? That's what Dan is going to walk us through. This is an enormously valuable gym-changing perspective. And whether you're ready to make the change right now or not, you owe it to yourself to hear Dan's numbers, Dan's talk, and about Dan's lifestyle. I'll tell you a secret, just off the cuff. Every Wednesday, Dan skips the gym, goes for a 2-hour Zone 2 run, goes to a coffee shop and works. And he publishes his content, whatever he does, it doesn't matter. He's doing what he wants to do. He's preserving his lifespan. He's preserving his health. He's living the kind of entrepreneurial lifestyle that really gets flaunted on Instagram, that people talk about, leaning against the Ferraris. Like, none of us wants that. None of us wants a private jet. What we want is a Wednesday where we can go out, do a trail run, and sit in a local cafe for 3 hours and write about fitness, right? Like, he's living an amazing lifestyle, and it's because his model supports that. So you owe it to yourself to hear this. Still on the owner's stage, on day 2 now, like that was all Saturday, and you're going to work through this. By the way, when I talk about Carl and Oscar building an ascension model, they're not up there with a slide deck saying, here's step 1, here's step 2. You are building this with them while they're talking. There's a workbook. You're going to work through the exercises with them. Dan is going to have you working through numbers. He's going to have you thinking about which clients might be paired up and writing them down. Like, you're going to do work while you're there. On the owner side, day 2, Jonathan Goodman is kicking it off. John is a very popular speaker. He's very dynamic. He's hilarious. He's entertaining. And he owns the Personal Trainer Development Center, PTDC. He's trained thousands of trainers around the world. He's amazing at making people a personal brand. And his new book, The Obvious Choice, it is so good that last year I bought like 400 copies and shipped them to people who bought summit tickets. So John's going to be on the stage. He's going to be signing books again. You're going to love this guy. Following up Jonathan is a very tough thing to do, but Kieran O'Dwyer from Australia is going to step in next. And his summit talk is incredible. I watched his pitch 3 times. His talk is called You Are Leaving $15,000 on the Table. he did his whole pitch standing in front of a whiteboard. And I was so enthralled that I started taking notes. This is an amazing talk. Last year, his talk was one of the most popular at Summit. He only had 30 minutes. He flew all the way from Australia to talk for 30 minutes. And a lot of people said it was the best talk. This year, he's got a full 60 minutes and he's going to tell you how to make $15,000 that you're blind to, that's just sitting there for you. Then, still in the owner stage, day 2, we're bringing Bonnie Skinner on. Bonnie owns Level Up Coaching. I work with Bonnie every second week to talk about leadership, elevating the ceiling of all of my companies by elevating my leadership skills. And what Bonnie's going to talk about is helping best for you, which means helping best without burning out, helping best without going broke, helping best without suffering from depression, anxiety, stress, how to manage yourself. This is what I work with Bonnie on. Let's face it, it doesn't matter if your business does $1,000 a month or $1 million a month, you're still facing the exact same burden of risk, doubt, stress, guilt, shame, imposter syndrome, perfectionism, all that stuff. And that's why a lot of people leave this industry. They can work through it. They can starve, they can go hungry, but they can't carry that burden forever. And Bonnie's going to tell us how to get rid of that burden, how to manage it while we're working through it, and then finally how to live on the other side of it. It's amazing, and I struggle to think of somebody who's helped me more than Bonnie Skinner in the last 3 years. After Bonnie, Corey Lewis is going to come back on the stage and talk about building community partnerships. Look, it's very easy for us to be like, you should go make an introduction to all the local businesses. Corey is going to tactically tell us, step 1, do this, step 2, do this, step 3, do this. My best community partnership was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it started by taking them a coffee and then taking them lunch. And that was it. That started a referral chain that lasted for almost a decade and was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in my gym. Corey is going to get tactical with you. He's going to tell you exactly how he's done this. Then Richard from Germany is going to take the stage and he's going to talk about how to charge more. Now, this is an uncomfortable topic and we're leaving it for close to the end of the summit. But the reality here is that the reason that you're not charging more is probably in your head. It's not because people won't pay more. It's not because they don't see the value. It's because you lack something up here that's making you just do it. Either you're lacking the knowledge of why you should do it. You're lacking the impetus to say, man, if I don't do this, my coaches can't earn what they need to earn. You're lacking the urgency, or maybe you're just lacking the courage. Richard is going to work with you on all of that. He's such a good speaker. And by the end of this talk, you are going to be ready to finally charge what you're worth. Then I'm going to bring my buddy, Nick Habich, on the stage. And his talk is called Get Over Yourself. He's going to talk about us as leaders in the gym being the barrier to our own growth and how to get over that. You'll notice this is a bit of a recurring theme here, but one thing that we say often in Two Brain is fix the owner, fix the business. Often we are the thing that's holding our business back. It's only going to grow to the level of the ceiling that we impose through our own lack of awareness and leadership. How do I know? Because I am the ceiling of Two Brain. I am the ceiling of my gym. I am what's holding it back. I am the problem, as Taylor Swift says. It's me. And so are you. And so we need to lift that ceiling by lifting ourselves, elevating ourselves as CEOs. That's really what the summit was invented for. And Nick is going to tell you in the way that only Nick can how to get over yourself and build the business that you want to own. I'm going to spend 30 minutes closing it, but after Nick's talk and Richard, you're going to be ready to go. You're not going to be tired out. You're going to be ready to get back to work and just tackle it. Now, all of that happens on just the owner's stage. Meanwhile, while we're doing all these things together, your coaches are going to be on the coach's stage and or in the coach's session, and they're going to be working through all this stuff. So here's the goodies that they're going to get. One of the coolest things about Summit that I didn't plan that we hear every year is my coaches were so stoked. We got back to the gym. They started taking action on stuff. They started initiating tasks. They took their job more seriously. They started building my business with me. They feel like partners instead of just employees that I have to run herd on all the time. So first, Oscar Joed is going to talk about influence. Now, he is certified in the Cialdini influence method. He's going to talk about the power that these coaches have to influence meaningful changes and change lives. So he's going to prime them for the weekend, basically. From there, Nick Habich is going to take the stage. This is Saturday morning, and he's going to talk about non-slimy sales. You know, Nick gave me a good talking to last week about the duty of a coach to sell people on fitness. Your coach might be sitting in an NSI, they might be talking about money, they might not, but it's their job every single day to sell the client on coming back tomorrow, to working as hard as they can in this workout, to showing up on time. These are all sales skills. When we think of sales, we think of like, you know, tricking people, fooling people out of money, getting them to buy a car, coercing them, convincing them. But sales is really influencing people to do the right thing. If you want to be successful in fitness, if you want to change lives, you want to have an impact, you have to sell. This is a new perspective that I've only ever heard coming from Two Brain, and Nick is an expert at it. He's going to get your coaches to want to sell fitness. How valuable is that? That's unbeatable. From there, I'm going to get up and I'm going to talk about our new book, Help Best, with my friend Kenny Marquardt, who is one of the co-authors on the book. And we're basically giving your coaches a framework to help people best. This is the prescriptive model. We're going to teach that to your coaches. So before lunchtime, on day one, your coaches will be talking about how to influence people, how to sell people on your service, keep them around longer and convince them to do the hard workouts, and then a framework, the prescriptive model, on how to actually change clients' lives. That's just day one. Even if you're not coming, I mean, send your coaches. I bring my coaches to this every year to learn. The afternoon of day one is going to be spent hands-on with Jason Khalipa and the Coach Like a Pro team, like Matt Del Val and some of their other experts. They're going to be spending 2.5 hours moving, learning, coaching, getting feedback, becoming better coaches. Instead of just sitting and listening to theories about coaching better, they're going to have a hands-on workshop with the Coach Like a Pro team to work on actually becoming a better coach. Invaluable. They're never going to get that anywhere else. Day two on the coaches stage, we're going to start with Cynthia Foddy, who is one of the nutrition mentors at Two Brain Business. And her topic is Beyond the Meal Plan, When Habits Meet Nutrition Coaching. Now, you're probably hearing some common threads here. If you want to change a client's life, you have to sell them on the journey. If you want to change their life, you have to influence them to do the right things. If you want to change their life, you have to be a good coach. And if you want to change their life, you have to help them develop habits that last forever. That's what Cynthia is all about. Nutrition coaching is not about giving people a meal plan or a diet to follow. It's not even about accountability anymore. It's about giving them habits that they can maintain for the rest of their life. From there, Peter is going to come on stage and talk to your coaches about expanding your influence in your community. We call this affinity marketing. He's going to talk to them about the value of media, about the value of saying to a client on the floor, how can we help your husband? About the value of talking to the clients and saying, how can we help the other bookkeepers, nurses, teachers that you work with? In effect, he's teaching your coaches to do marketing. Now, that doesn't absolve you from doing marketing, but what it does is it makes marketing an organic, natural part of the conversation in your gym every day, every hour, every single minute. And he's doing it by teaching your coaches that it's their responsibility to grow their influence and the influence of the gym in your community. It's amazing. Nobody has ever been successful at getting their coaches to do marketing for them before. Peter's got a lock on this, and he's going to help. Then we're bringing Mayhem Nation to the stage. Now, if you were at Summit last year, the crew from Mayhem did an amazing job. They knocked it out of the park. They ran our morning workouts. This year, they're going to come on stage and they're going to talk about coaching. And they're going to talk about excitement, building community, doing stuff that only Mayhem Nation can do. And I think your coaches are going to love just meeting these guys. They're like celebrity coaches to a lot of people. People are going to want to take selfies. And if that's all they did for an hour, it would still be a great seminar. Instead, they're going to actually talk about improving coaching. And then we're going to have Bill Parisi come on stage. Now, Parisi owns Parisi Speed School. They've got well over 100 licensees, franchisees, and affiliates. And their job is to make athletes faster. He's going to be talking with your coaches and giving them exercises and coaching them through building speed. Your coaches are just going to love working with this guy. He's been around forever. Your coaches have probably heard about him. Nobody makes athletes faster than Bill Parisi. And your coaches are just going to love this. And finally, we're going to bring Matt Temby on stage. The goal here is for Matt to fire up your coaches and get them excited about the mission. Look, the job your coaches are doing is necessary. Nobody else can do it. The reality is that while our culture is wealthier and living longer than ever before, we're less happy. Our lifespan is going backward. And what stands in the way of this, what is there to turn the tide, is not doctors, it's not pharmaceutical companies, it's not these, holistic practitioners, it's coaches. The people who are getting results are the ones who coach people. Now, some doctors are turning their clients' health around, but these are the doctors who make time to coach people into lifestyle changes. There are pharmaceutical companies and apps even who are kind of making a difference in some clients' lives, right? But it's only done when it's done in combination with coaching, because people have to change their lifestyles. Coaches alone are out there fighting against shortening lifespan, increasing obesity, and all the diseases that are plaguing us right now that stem from lack of fitness or overconsumption of sugar. Coaches are the linchpin in our fight to increase health span and lifespan. And Matt is going to get them fired up about that journey. So the goal here is not that you just have better coaches, not just that you give your coaches a great time and an amazing team building experience, but also that your coaches leave stoked to help you, the owner, build your gym, expand your impact, and change people's lives. Hey, look, this is why we do the summit every year. And I'll be honest with you, we run the summit at a massive loss. It costs me a massive amount of money to run this, but I do it because this is how we change things. This is how we change the industry. This is how we make gyms more successful at changing clients' lives, keep the gyms around longer, reward the gym owners, help them open up more locations and change more lives, create meaningful careers for their coaches, and keep coaches in the industry changing lives with passion, enthusiasm, instead of starvation, burnout, and overwhelm, and then going to sell real estate. This is why we started doing the summit in 2016 in the first place. This is why the summit sells out every year, and this is why I'm willing to give you a discount to commit early. Go to twobrainsummit.com, fill out the form, get your tickets, get your coaches their tickets, do it before February 1st when the price goes back to normal, and we will see you in Chicago.